ni saa cia Vilingi wa Mauvoo.
Wakati wa omonde matukuni 18 mwezi wa 12 mwaka ni wa 2022 ndio dhocha ndeni wa Vilingi wa Mauvoo mwendo wa saa mwanza nye nitawa Robert MUTUKU. Na tuyambia Mauvoo maituonekana bunge ya kaunti ya Meru niendeye kunena nisya mutatala wa kunguthula kuma ofisini governor wa kaunti isu Mwandu Kawira Mwangaza. Mutatala o wathakiwe mbungeni isu kwi matuku 3 mamayo ni MCA wa Ambogeta West Dennis Kiogora ula ingine wa minority whip na valame umukonania governor Mwangaza na utume muthuku wa ofisi kwivo kuandika andu kana kuandika wia andu mukonyo wake kuvuta wia kuthothea kuvuthia memba mambungesu kati wa maundu angi. Kawira unyivanini muvitu anyuviwa tena chama atio kwa oyu yoneka aikwata mbau serikali ya Kenya Kwanza.
First was violation of Article 73 and 75 of the Constitution, plus violation of Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act, plus violation of Sections 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, and gross misconduct is set forth in the video saved as Annex 12 in the flash disk presented to me. The transcriptions and translation of the video attached as Annex 12 failed to the affidavit in support of this motion. Verification of the Senator of Mail County. On or around the 12th September 2022, the government grossly violated Articles 10, 73 and 75 of the Constitution, grossly violated Section 19 of the Public Officer Ethics Act, grossly violated Section 29 and 34 of the Leadership and Integrity Act, and engaged in gross misconduct by inciting the public against the Senator of Mail County, the Honorable Vilingi, at a public rally held at Raleigh in Tuneni Ward, falsely accusing the Senator of demanding a share of county government appointments.
Na ini museisia Mauvoo asu tuende na kuatiania na mo na itwithiwa tiunengelelio tundu meithiwa maitovikia. Tuisonga na mbeni kana zama ya mbunge ya Senate ya kuika ukunikili mitomile ya ilovia sia kaunti ni yakani ya kosi ya matamba mavyo magavana ala meithiwa maivuthiisya ukulyo wa kuvika mbewa nzama isu kusungia makulyo yulua mitomile ya ilovia kaunti nisio. Mwene kivila wa nzama yeula ni Senator wa Vihiga Geoffrey Osotsi eweta mbunge ya Senate kuisilanza amani na uthasyo kiimiao kwiki ya kithimini uthukumi wa magavana balawa weta uoni wia uoki katiba na waikithiwe ni koti wa yulovyo kana Supreme Court.
That is Chief Officer Finance, Kisumu County.
Before we begin, to effectively perform its role, the Supreme Court held that the Senate must have the power to summon governors and to require them to provide answers and offer explanations regarding the management of the county finances and the related affairs. Without such powers, the Supreme Court held that Senate would not be able to protect the interest of the counties and would not be able to exercise effective oversight over national revenue allocated to the counties. It also goes ahead and says, it is therefore the Supreme Court finding that the Senate is constitutionally empowered to summon governors to appear before it or any of its committees for the purpose of answering questions and providing requisite information. Any meeting that is cancelled because the governor did not appear and there was no good reason for him to appear, we will insist on paying costs, because we have members here who are supposed to do other things. They are not, they have come for this meeting. We have the Office of the Auditor General which has come. We have been advertising for this meeting. So there are costs.
Kungi ni kana serikali ya kati kuislamu veani wa UCCI ni endeka yongelange UCCI ni kana kusuvya enendi alama ende yena kutambuka kuma kundu na kundu kondu wa kutani ya sikuku ukuli uwa umwa ni memba wa mbunge ya kaunti ya Masaku kuma wodini ya Kenanie Francis Wambua kavyo ndambukani yake kisioni cha Chumbi na mwithuluko wala ingi wakuli ya wanamama televa mati ya mio ya maleloni ni kana kuolanga mbanga ila ikiteka hivi ndani ya masikuku. Daniel Mwangala nukuelesyo.
Ku watialite metha mivuthu ene nthi kukavumwa na kutania siku kunene ya Kikristo ya kiisimisi ndongo isikivuthanĩ nĩciendee na kwikaila muvea wa usesei kugasa kakanda na kusima na mbũrili ila sienda utumia mwanya uu kwithonga ung'ini akulika siekoni ingi cia ukuthothea uvungulu wa Mauvoo.
Evinda yitu elekele sikukuni nitwiwite cases cia insecurity siendee kuongeleka na nienda kukulia kila umwe twinthe twi macho ni kana withie ndu navikia kwintha wi victim na tuyunyo witano pia kwa security agencies mekale onamo meona alert ni kana withie andu maitu yimaendee kusherekea na kulika sikukuni withie kila umwe safe na cases cia insecurity ni ciathea.
Ingi Francis ni wenda nthi kukuna livoti kavindane kala mona esilwa masieko isu cia ung'ei kithitoni cha kutetheesya kukitana na uvungulu wa Mauvoo na kung'uthula ng'ei isu katiwo.
Ni kulia nthi tuikeye lele twinthe twi very vigilant na wono mundu utamwisi no desie kata kisioni no usioka notify sub chief kanoka kuna ukavika polisi no kaelesia kana ve mundu wikisioni utesikie undu mala maingi andu meumanza na mayuko nyamasi andu maitu so usune uwe witano wako kwa andu makinanie na pia ngimwe kwatisia evinda esio evindane thi twende kwiyumbanisya sikuku na nitusisya tuisie okala kanini katonyo kwatikana twimanyisye kushare nundu theme na kielelo kinene cha evinda ya sikuku na andu kuisania
va ingi MC au wakinani mathatani nthini wa uneni wake na kulia mateleva na muno ala matumia lelo munene wa kuma ilovi kuthi Mombasa kati wa malelo angivanthi ya Kenya kwithi wa mengunu na kwivitangana utoi muthuku wa ngali vatekwatia miao ya leluni. Francis inginda kulia silikali ya kaunti ya Masako ngua utongoi wake mwandu wa vinyandeti kwikia mawalani makwe na kumanthia amwika mawia na kumavana na itindo mbuku ilaito na kwathavya mituoyo.
Governor witwa excellency wa vinyandeti ni wende kwikia mikakati ikana withie onethati andu onthe no twavingwa ngamianya ya mawia nundu evinda ni yumu na ndikulio enenthi twithona umisyo vaini tumunenge time nundu no evinda ya miita tukuma osa kivila cha governor wa Masako so tumunenge o time ambo kwiyumbania na ela wona kwatulia ni kwatia mianya na ya uthukumi ni kukwatikana nundu kielelo chake kinene ni ku make sure kila nyumba kila mwikalia Masako ena mbesa muvukoni na liumesani
kuvatialite mithina mivuthu nthi kulika mbokani ya kisimisi no maende na ukulwa ona makwatene na muvea wa polisi kuuna livoti nikenda kutetheanisya kumina sieko cia uvungulu wa Mauvoo ila siende kuthukuania mikale ya kila muna kwa nthi kuma kwa nasikivuthukanio vanthi ya Kenya. Daniela Mwongela, Mutongoi TV, kumuvaa kimani cha Chumbi, kauntini ya Masako.
Eki maukunikili kana researchers kuma ilembetani ya Afrika ni mathuthia nthi na serikali nene kusembania na ivinda kwa kuthukuma kwislanzia cia matukwa patani wa kukilia ilembeta ya Afrika kiukwati na kimaendeleo ene yanda ni maelesya kana ilembeta yithitwe itiitwe itina kimaendeleo kwa ivinda ya sana yuve na vata wa kuthukuma mengwatanio na kuweka kwikwatia nthi ila siendeete kimaendeleo mainene ya ikomanoni ila yevikitwe ni akunikeli ambe wa miongo monza kuma imansioni nene miongo ili na ili cia nthi 18 cia Afrika nimenda ilembetaji kukilia kisomo na maundu maki umunthi kana digital ni kana maeke kutiwa na itina.
There's a lamentation among the academic communities that awareness about intellectual property is not very high, simply because from the beginning of higher education establishment in Africa, emphasis has been put on publication rather than innovations. And then there's this paradigm that publish or perish, all, and that has been with the academia all these years. And then your career progression is based on the number of publications that you produce. And sadly, we have realized that the publications that we are coming out, or that are coming out from African universities, are not being converted into innovations to benefit our people.
To have the right skills and skill sets that can not only develop the solutions that are related to emerging technologies, artificial intelligence and machine learning in particular, but also able to tap and use them and deploy them in a scale that can have meaningful impact to the society. And this is why we say the skills are required actually at various levels. You need the skills at basic level, you need the skills at professional level.
And one of the central issues that we are really trying to do, especially with the issue of responsible AI, is to raise the question of ethics. And the question of ethics, which relates to values and also moral principles, is something that is related to what we are and who we are as Africans. So one of the first things that we want to do is to push inventors to really think about what makes them African, and also to see technology as part of an ecosystem.
And as Africa, we need to also embrace the fourth industrial revolution to be able to solve the problems that are currently going on here. And we've seen that there's a lot of data that is being collected and being used. However, the problem that we have is that many of the technologies that are developed outside of Africa and then they are brought to be used here on our continent face a very big challenge that they will not solve the problems that we have because they've probably not been trained on the data that's collected on our context. And then secondly, there's lack of capacity in using the technologies that are being developed and brought on the African context. And so that's why it's important that us as Africans can also be involved in building our own artificial intelligence and machine learning systems and technologies, but most importantly also using the technologies on the data that's collected on our continent.
Kungi nekana muyumbe wa Thika Town Alsinganga yu aende ya kusukumia yela ya Thika idha mwekuma busokone katenikana kunengane mwanya wa kuseuvya miako ingi ya kimaendeyo mwanduka nga heweta kana yela yina mbewa eka miongo ilisi ya kithekania ilite kuthamwa na kunengane yanya ya kuseuvya milati ingi itonya kutethia mwenendi wa Thika Town.
In primary alone, you went 5 or 6 primary schools, right? You must look for leading certificates for every level.
To get people from their constituencies, whereas they are...
What value does the Thika prisons add to us in the middle of Thika Town? And it is in the middle of Thika Town, the CBD. Is it adding any value to us? That the prisons were put there a long time ago when the population of Thika was very low. Right now, the population we are squeezing. We can't even get facilities. Even getting or accessing town is a problem. It is the high time now we start sitting down and reasoning together and ask, because we have other piece of property somewhere else, can we be in a position to move this prison from where it is and take it, seeing the same constituency somewhere else, so that we can utilize this prime land in the middle of our CBD. And I also want to add that having come from a very huge constituency, the numbers might go high. So that is something else we'd want the TSC to look into. That there are some constituencies that have a huge population. And also, the higher the population, the higher teachers that have been trained by TSC. That's why we came here. Thika, why? He's bringing diversity. Once you get different people, you start things and perceiving things very differently. So I will not advocate that once they are hired, they come back to Thika or they come back home. No, not really. They can be posted somewhere else and they work for the public of Kenya.
Na indi ni kulia sio. Yale wanapata wako idhiwa na yela kana kolokolo sokoni kana town kati. Pambodhi wa mabanini tusiokethetie na mauvombe.
Wemi wa ng'ombe cia yeia ndire wa kilungu wasia wa mwimi ingene ona kusiye mukeka wa kina
mukeka wa sio ukome tumena ewa ukome ya mundu
kwete ya mutaalamu tukanena nesia maundu ma wimi na mutwele to transplant sasa nata
transplanting by Sauteka, provided with the Hamilton Vena, out right in the field, in the wet.
No do tuta mina kulika mitwo wenda wabaluka pyo. Unaona kwa diamond flat muno, wewe unaona kama mbaro ya matambio 5 ndio. Itegemea nondo mbaro isito na kuangamia kigo.
Nima ya kungithia no yende na kwikathia muno ukambani uimi wa kitunguu thini wa kilungu wasia wa mwimi
kuna na kolelia wewe tongo ke banda ana manya kuna ambia kwa maketongo
ko wewe masindula sembesa
ni mazia sembesa
wasia wa mwimi.
Musesia witu wa Mutungo TV nguthoche nthini wa kilungu cha usili
ne kuthiko kotini wetha kwethina muno wailo utumia wakili nikenda withia ni wabira kotini lakini umundi ona mwene nthi wa kawaida nutona kukila na ketwa kotini
rights cia mawithi ululuko environmental rights ni tasiva
rights mingi kendo kila jonde kwithi ululukite cha nthi ni kendo kisio na katika ila standard serikali katika kidunia
katiba ka 2010 2011 nako kaili atawasiani sana kala ka bumbeni
ilandi ya Kenya yosi usumbi yosi usumbi na katiba kaendete kakanena nilofu yo Uingereza
serikali nendugu serikali ati ya
serikali ndikutubinia
leo katiba moya wa katiba waiti kana serikali ni wena kwa
ni dhiti se wite serikali na alame utongo hini we serikali ni dhito sakuite mundu umwene ndi wabaya ndi no aete mjadala akasya kana mwea uwo yani dhita se ubisie
mubia wa mbunge ni mama se ubasemia
Dial *811*466# to get Psalms 119 verse 105 as your skiza tune.
Psalms chapter 119 verse 105. Your word is a light for my feet, ever shining on my way. I have made an oath and kept it to be guided by your upright decisions. I am greatly troubled. O Lord, give me life in keeping your word. Amen.
Dial *811*466# to get Psalms 119 verse 105 as your skiza.
Nina udhochenge musiaisi atwendeye na kumanithia na twili kama dhauni ni kana ula wa muthauki wa muvila wa Mau Paul Kiogera ni wathingilila vata wa buvithia ma muvila kukwata utuika ula wa ilite ni kana mathethe ise kwa inengo cia muvila isioni cia ndwani. Kiogera aiweta kana ino yonzi ya yoka itonya utuma muvila wa Mau yana vanthi ya Kenya.
Nimecheza KCB, Gor Mahia, Simba, FC, Wazito, Sofapaka na Ushuru. Na niko hapa kama one of the coaches wame graduate kwa hii course ya CAFD, iko offered na Federation. Na mimi ni coach pale mtani na coach wa 11 State FC. Iko hapa hivi Ngong. Home ground yetu ni Ngong Stadium. Na decide kuja kufanya hii coaching course kwa sababu nili get to understand coaching ni different na kuplay. So una need, apart from your experience ya kucheza, una need pay your knowledge kwa class kwa sababu in football unajithinkia, but in coaching una think for the whole group. So nikaona ni opportunity poa nifanye coaching course, na pia naweza encourage former players kuliko tu kukaa huko mtaani wakam kwa football. Kuna opportunities mob kwa football. Wanaweza kuwa administrators, wanaweza coach, wanaweza kuwa referees. So kuna opportunities too mob. So wase wakam kwa football tuweze ku uplift sport pamoja.
Mainly for us is to train youth from down so that we have fresh talent, young people coming up, playing and training in higher leagues with a background knowledge, not just coming without any knowledge. So for any successful football to be realized in Kenya, grassroots must be active, and that grassroots must be trained by coaches who have the knowledge of training. And that's why as FKF we strive to do more. At least for rural areas, a lot of it going on even now, because it's important for us to realize the goals we want to achieve in the future. We encourage a lot. You have seen former players complaining of neglect, but they have not taken the initiative. So we really appreciate and encourage those who are having the initiative, because for you to learn something, you must have the interest first. You must come out and show the interest you want to do. And apart from this class, there's a class ongoing in Buruburu where we also have former players training as coaches. And we have other former players who have trained in courses elsewhere. And we really encourage this as FKF, because at least they will be training and they'll be inspiring the young people, because the youths will see this was a player, he's now a coach, and probably some of them who are coaches, even some of our tractors were former players. So it's a big thing to us as FKF, and we really